Okay, and we're back. Continued of the spiritual gumbo. Other ordinances, true justice. And we're gonna just do a small review. And it's just speaking on how you treat a thief, how you treat an arson, okay? How you treat organized theft, right? You see what I'm saying? And then the follow up to each. Now, having said that, we're going to just pick right up in verse 14. And if anyone borrow aught of his, if anyone borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be wounded or be carried away, and the owner of it be not with it, he shall make compensation. But if the owner be with it, he shall not make compensation. But if it be a hired thing, there shall be a compensation to him instead of his hire. Stop right there. So what it's saying is this right here. Is that if you have a situation where a person is physically there and available and they see this take place, you don't have to pay them. But if they're not there, you need to pay them. And then if there's an instance where you're doing business and there's like a subcontractor or something like that involved, right? You need to pay the person who's paying the subcontractor, not the person who's subcontracting, or not the higher, not because you don't pay a beast, right on. You know what I mean? You pay a person. So it's like, even if I'm paying you to do this job, because it's not like I'm borrowing it. I'm just using your donkey to plow some land or whatever, right? I actually used it because I'm like, yo, bro, I got a job for me and you both to make some money. And so they're saying like, nah, what you're not gonna do is try to compensate for whatever the beast is. You're gonna pay for whatever the job is. Do you understand? Okay. Took me a little bit to put it together because sometimes it's difficult to explain those things. It really is. I mean, like, I don't take weeks off because I want to. I have to at this point. You know, I overstand the ability that I don't have to do everything that I want to do right now. So if I wait and I'm patient, then maybe if there's time left, I'll be able to do all those things I want to do. Uh, a little fervor, sure, but still I'll be able to do them. Having said that, we go forward. Verse 16. And if anyone, this is about the treatment of women now again, and if anyone deceive a virgin that is not betrothed, that is not married, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her for a wife to himself. So if you lay with a young lady who's virgin, or just a virgin woman, period, who's not married, okay, she's your wife now. Verse 17. And if her father positively refuse, absolutely refuse, and will not consent to give her to him for a wife, he shall pay compensation to her father according to the amount of the dowry of virgins. Ye shall not save the lives of sorcerers. What? You see how they just jumped to that? Crazy, right? But you know why that is? Because virgins are a part of sorcery a lot of the time. Now you see how this is talking about deceive a virgin. Right on? You see that word deceive? Something wicked. Right on? That you did so that way she would lay with you. And this is probably a young lady, teenage lady. And this is an old ass man. The father's like, forget that. You're not taking my daughter. Give me the dowry of a young virgin. And then it goes on to say right after that, listen to this. This is crazy. Ye shall not save the lives of sorcerers. So this obviously has something to do with sorcery. It's just starting to jump on me that these things that it jumps to, they're connected to. It just hit me just now. Verse 19. Everyone that lies with the beast, ye shall surely be put to death. Also sorcery. He that sacrifices to any gods, but to the Lord alone, shall be destroyed by death. So you're not going to destroy him by famine or by drought, right on, or by poverty. You're going to destroy him by death. Verse 21. And ye shall not hurt a stranger, nor afflict him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Ye shall not hurt no widow or orphan. And if ye do afflict them by ill treatment, and they do cry aloud to me, I will surely hear their voice, and I will be very angry, and I will slay you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children orphans. And if thou shouldest lend money to thy poor brother who is by thee, thou shalt not be hard upon him. Thou shalt not exact usury of him. Stop right there. So you hear that? So the Most High God is like, check this out. You're not going to treat people who are not like you funny, because you used to be strangers. So you don't get to do that. You have to treat them with the level of dignity and respect. And then also, with that being said, is that you don't get to treat widows and orphans any old kind of way. Because if they speak up to me, I'm going to send the sword upon you. Now, don't you think it's crazy what happened to the Israelites later on? That's just a forward thought. Fact it is. And then he also goes on to say, right, that you can't, if you lend something to a man, right, money, you can't try to use that dude. You can't be like, oh, yeah, well, I gave you this much, so really you should do this much work, because that's what it's really worth, right? You see what I'm saying? As opposed to, I paid you this much, this is how much work it would normally be, as opposed to, I'll let you borrow something. So this is all keeping in mind of where people's inheritances are going to be, how much they're going to get from the tributes that they're going to get from the people, how rich they will be to their brethren, how they're able to do commerce amongst one another, understanding that they're not supposed to just do each other wrong, man. Y'all are family. Right. And these strangers that are amongst you are people who are either related to you, literally directly related to you by way of, or are people who are just so attracted to the way of life that you live. They believe in y'all, like there's something about you guys, even though y'all look like everybody else. There's something about y'all that is special going forward. And also because strangers are in every land. Obviously, this is normal nonsense, but it's just, I have to speak that out there just in case people don't think I know that. Verse 25. No, verse 26. And if thou take thy neighbor's garment for a pledge, thou shalt restore it to him before sunset. So, if you're saying like, yo, bro, let me borrow this suit so that way I can get this job, right? You have to give it back to him before sundown. For this is his clothing. This is his only covering of his nakedness. Wherein shall he sleep? If then he shall cry to me, I will then hearken to him, for I am merciful. Stop right there. So now let's also speak to the more grave matter. Let's say this is his only clothes, right? And your brothers or something like that, right? And you're running around in your brother's clothes, and he's like, these are my clothes, and this man would be in here naked, not me, right? Because y'all just gotta understand how life used to be. It's crazy how life used to go. We used to treat people. And they would kill a man for stealing a garment because he didn't want to be naked. Anyway, let's not even talk about that. The level of wickedness that the people that want to be holy practiced or call themselves the children of the holy. These people were almost never in part at any time holy fully as a group. And the fact that people have the audacity to speak as if the Israelites are something to be proud of, they are sick. There's something wrong with it. The people are having to be told these things they didn't already know them. There was the inherent knowledge is now through our biology of having lived through it for thousands of years, and now in this country for hundreds of years. I go forth now. If then he shall cry to me, I will hearken to him, for I am merciful. Verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor speak ill of the ruler of thy people. Thou shalt not keep back the first fruits of thy threshing floor and press. The firstborns of thy sons thou shalt give to me. So shalt thou do with thy calf and thy sheep and thine ass. 7 days it shall be under the mother. And the 8th thou shalt give it to me. And ye shall be holy men to me. And ye shall not eat flesh taken of beast. Ye shall cast it to the dogs. So he's saying that you're not going to eat animals that another animal ate. You're going to give that to the dogs. Can you dig? And it's also saying that, like, the Passover. So you have to make sure that your firstborns are holy to me. Right on? They're mine. You have to give them to me. And that means normally give them to the priest to be raised up as what? As people who are, right, taught to be servants in the priesthood. They're not exactly priests, but they are people who can do work. And this is how you have people who later on are in the priesthood who are not exactly all the way from the tribe of Levi. I'm trying to explain it to you. This is how you have prophets who are born of these arrangements, because they're technically servants, right? And a lot of these guys become prophets like that. But that's neither here nor there. We're in the 23rd chapter of the Exodus. We'll just pick up, and we're just going to pick up in verse 1. We'll leave it in verse 1. Thou shalt not receive a vain report. Thou shalt not agree with the unjust man to become an unjust witness. Stop right there. Did you hear how both those things go together? So you're not going to take in. It's vanity. It's a nonsense report. So he comes and says, that man assaulted me. Even though you just watched this dude accost this man and ultimately deserve what happened to him. Then he says, I'll pay you to say that he assaulted me. Most High God said, you're not going to do that. You're not going to become the witness for an unjust man. Thank you. See, my people, there's so many. I know I'm the only one trying to humanize the scripture for you. I apologize for that. I apologize that some people think that getting a paycheck cut is more important than you understanding your actual history. I apologize that some of the people here don't respect the fact that I respect that all black people, even if we have afros and beards, are not exactly from the same gene stock directly, even if it be ultimately from the same root stock ultimately. Having said that, I do respect that, and I overstand this fact, and I am only speaking to, once again, my people. I'm only speaking to the people that this applies to. This doesn't apply to them. This doesn't apply to them. I'm speaking to my people, but when I say that, I speak to the stranger and the sojourner. I speak to those people whose hearts and souls have been rendered to this cause that they know is a righteous cause. And not my cause, because I didn't write the Bible. So I couldn't tell you exactly where you came from, but I'm reading to us out loud how it is, where we came from, the ordinances we were supposed to follow, the laws we were supposed to keep, the statutes and injunctions that were not kept. And because those commandments were broken while we're here now, and I would only pray that we eventually have the time to get to the part where it tells us how to fix the situation that we're in, because I could tell you, but if you hear it from the manipulator of spectra through his tutelage from the Most High God himself, being the Messiah, then maybe you'll believe then, and only then, that there is a way where in which we can get out of this mess that we're in. But only then does it matter. And I promise you, the same way that a radio works, the same way that a speaker works, the same way that you amplify sound is the same way that this process works. And if more than one person does it in true heart and mind of seeking to be restored and made whole, then they can be. But it will never be like that until that happens, until the people think like that. I'm not a negative man. I really am not. I'm just serious when I have to be, because I understand that people will not be serious when they need to be. Having said that, I really do care about my people, and I love you so very much. I really do. That's why I show you my face. It matters to me. For anyone else who will tell you that they don't show you their face for matters of safety, they're a coward, and they know it. It's a fact. Having said that, if you ever see me, you know who I am, you know what I stand for. I'm not just a face or a voice behind a picture or whatever an image that they want you to believe. This is who you're dealing with. Spiritual Gumbo.